Yes, my magnificent manifestors. Happy New Year, my brothers and sisters from around the world. We are in 2022, believe it. And this is the year that we need to rule rather than have rule us. It's time, my friends. I've given you lots of time. Having said that, I ended up with the flu over Christmas. And that was an excellent reason just to relax and chill and get my energy and strength back. And here we are. It's 2022. And we are here. We are now. And this is episode 4 of your best year ever, my friends. And this is where I help you find your why. Now, when I did this exercise myself, now trust me, I don't share anything with you that I don't do myself. That would be inauthentic. That would be hypocritical, and that would not be cool. How can I teach you stuff if I don't learn it myself first? So here we are, finding our why. And as the years have gone by with my other clients in the past years, I used a simple document called 7 Levels Deep to find my why. And in that time, I found it effective, but I knew that as I built my business, as I grow with my clients, as I grow on my own for my clients, I come to realize that there's always going to be a new, better way to do things. And it's not always going to be created by me. So this is one of those beautiful circumstances where a mentor of mine introduced me to Michael Hyatt's system. And I have been sharing with you these first several episodes up to this point. This is episode 4. And until now, we were talking about finding the gap between the past and the present and figuring out what it was that didn't work and setting up the 7-part framework for smarter goals as opposed to smart goals. So it's a beautiful thing about the information that we live with in this world. There's always an opportunity to make it better. So my friends, tonight we're going to be going forward with understanding what it takes to find your why. Now, of course, remember what I said. The previous smarter framework was about specific, measurable, actionable, a bit risky, time-keyed, exciting, right? And relevant to who you are and what you want to do with your life. But in this episode, we really aren't going to get very far with that if we don't know why we're doing this. We need that motivation that gets us started and keeps us going when the going gets tough. It's important to have clearly written goals, but that isn't enough, my friends. And this is where I get to tell you why. So I'm going to use a lot of Michael's examples. I'm going to use my own examples. But with respect to Michael's examples, Michael Hyatt, he was writing a book a while back, several years ago. The book was called Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. And I have a link for you if you want to get the book for yourself. It's an affiliate link. Or you can just go on Amazon and get the book yourself, Audible, whatever you feel. It's called Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. But anyways, he was writing this book, and he had decided that, as far as he was concerned, he had a very clearly written goal. He wanted to deliver a 50,000-word manuscript to the publisher by November 1st of that year. He had a great plan. He started the year, he began writing, and by the middle of the summer, he had a rough a rough draft, I should say, of the manuscript. That was about 50,000 words, but he still had a lot of work to do. And then, of course, as can happen, especially in the summer months, things got crazy. And he was caught up with speaking engagements, coaching requirements, just assignments here and there. And, he was building his business like I am. And of course, he didn't want to say no to anything. So naturally, he got buried alive. And learning how to say no is a huge power for you when moving forward in the world. And coming into that place where you realize that you are in an opportunity to actually be in charge of who you are and what you do. But anyways, he came to the realization that because he had allowed himself to get overwhelmed, he was going to miss his deadline by a mile. And he writes that he honestly got discouraged and he didn't see any way to get it done. And despite all the work that he'd done, 50,000 rough draft word manuscript, he wanted to give up. Now, how often have you been in a situation where you've gotten so much work done on a special project and you just thought, you know what, I'm not going to get this done. I feel like giving up. I've been there. I felt like, well, hell, what would make someone want to commit suicide not once but twice, but wanting to give up? So I understand what it means to give up, but I also understand what it means not to give up, my friends. And so something that his wife shared and something that I've learned, and I know is true, is people lose their way when they lose their why. And that was one of the most powerful truths that I've ever lived by and learned by. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Don't lose your way. Don't allow yourself to lose your way simply because you've lost your why. And this is what I'm going to share with you tonight, as to how to find your why, how to write down your why, and how to make that integral into your goal setting. So we got to get into a place where we set ourselves up so we know life is going to get tough. And when the going gets tough, that's when the tough get going, my friends. So, we have to be prepared to make that provision for the things that we're going to do. Okay. We have to get into that place where we are reminding ourselves of our motivations, right? We want to get into that place where we can have a backup plan of inspiration for ourselves. We're in that place where we understand that we have identified some key motivations, so that when we reconnect to those key motivations, when the going gets tough, we remind ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. And it has to be an emotional thing. We have to be connected to what we're doing. And we have to allow that connection to reignite our passion, to help us get back into the flow. And of course, he did that for himself, and he was able to finish the manuscript a little bit late, and that book became a #1 bestseller. So a huge lesson for all of us. And we have to keep in a place where we realize that if we're going to set goals, and I'm so sure that however many of you are listening to this right now, because we're into January now, 2022, how many of you have set some New Year's resolutions, some New Year's goals? How many of you have identified emotionally with the motivations that are going to help you get through those resolutions, those goals, those promises to yourself and to the people in your life, that you're not going to stop, that you're not going to give up? You're going to remember your why. You're going to emotionally connect to your motivators. And you're going to give yourself an opportunity to succeed, to be successful in your goal setting. Now, remember, this whole idea is about your best year ever. And I thought I knew what it meant to set goals until my mentor handed me this program. And I have been laid out with like, wow, this is so powerful. This is so much more about who I am as an individual, more than who my goals are. I've had to connect with my goals at a personal level. And not only just like goals, but life domains, the 10 life domains that are the most important part about my life, and be in that place where I've identified my key motivations, and I've unpacked a ton of stuff about who I am and why I do what I do, getting in touch with what personally motivates me to achieve my goals, my internal drive, not the external, the internal. So, certain goals that we have, they might be important to others, but why are they important to you? Now, you have to ask yourself some very simple questions. Why is this goal important to me? Is the foremost, most important question that you should ask yourself when you're setting a goal. So that you're setting a relevant goal, you're setting a real goal, you're setting a risky goal, you're going through that smarter framework, you understand why you're setting the goals. It is in line with your life and what you want to do with your life. And of course, you need to ask yourself, what's at stake if I achieve this goal? And when the going gets tough, you need to be able to ask yourself, what is at stake if I don't achieve this goal, right? Intrinsic or internal motivation comes from our hopes, our values, our ambitions, who we are, the reasons that we do things, okay? Extrinsic or tongue twister, extrinsic or external motivation comes from outside influence. It could even be from society, from friends. Maybe you made a resolution with someone else and that resolution is more important to them than it is to you. Maybe it's got something to do with your boss or your job. These things are not super powerful for us. We need to be in that place where the pursuit of the goal is fueled by our inside desires, who we are, why we're doing this. And we need to find a way to be committed and have a high level of commitment to finishing these goals. So it's important to be in that place where we understand that the simple act of choosing this goal means something to you. And if you want to go the distance, you've got to find a reason that speaks powerfully and personally to you on the inside, where it really matters, where it really counts to your heart, to your purpose, to your life, to your family, to your business. Whatever it is that you're choosing to do, it needs to count so that you can keep going when the going gets tough. Now, I've really had to get in touch with my why. And it wasn't because someone else wanted me to do it. It's not an idea that someone else suggested because they thought it might help me. Okay, so it's more important for me personally. It's more important for me dramatically and intrinsically on the inside. Okay, so I have to write a few things down and I'm going to share them with you. Still got a bit of a tickle in my throat. This is important, my friends, right? So I was coming to the place where I realized that, and this was a while ago with this particular one, where I'm tired of living according to what others think I should be or should be who I should be. And of course, I wanted to get the best out of my mental state in life. I wanted to get far away as possible from having any suicidal thoughts. And I wanted to have good mental and spiritual stamina. The two things together, mental and spiritual stamina, and have the energy and the authenticity to be the most realistic and authentic self that I can be. This is what comes down to our whys. This is the 7 levels deep. Was developed by Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, and it just goes why 7 times. Why do you want to do such and such a thing? But ultimately speaking, that's very generalized, and we want to be very specific about each goal. We want to get into that place where we're understanding why we're doing what we're doing for that specific goal, not just in general. And in this particular series, we're talking about 10 life domains, right? So we want to be in that place where it matters deeply for each life domain. Okay. Now, I remember way back, Steve Jobs, when he came back to Apple in the late 90s, the company was almost done. And if Jobs hadn't stepped in and saved the company, there would be no Apple today. There'd be no iPhone, no iPad, no Apple TV, no MacBook Pro. Does that really matter? Yes, it does, because it matters to all those people that use those tools every day. Now, I'm not an Apple person, but I respect the Apple product line because they're top quality, and a lot of people are exclusive users of Apple products. But Steve Jobs, he went even deeper. He not only did he co-found the company, but he also had a very, very radical vision for the value of simple, elegant machines. A vision that drove a product line overhaul and a new marketing strategy that not only saved the company, but drove it to dominance. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being in that place where you identify your key motivators, right? So that's action number one, my friends, identifying your key motivators. Why is this goal important to me? What's at stake if I don't reach the goal? What's at stake if I do reach the goal? Now, it's all well and good for me to say that, but in order for it to mean anything to you, you need to record these motivations. You need to write or type these in a series of bullets, maybe 5 to 7 for each goal in your life domains. Now, Word document. I don't know if you work with PDFs or Google Documents or whatever the case may be, paper and pen, whatever works for you. But focus on 5 to 7 key motivations for each goal. And just, brainstorm. Why do you want to make that goal a priority? Why do you want to make sure that you are successful in completing that goal and achieving that goal? Is it a one-time goal? Is it a habit goal? What are the things that are important about that? Okay. And prioritize them. Okay. You want to find your most compelling motivations at the very top of your list. So go through your list of each key motivator and then rank them based on how important they are to you. And then record that reordered list in your document or on your piece of paper or in your Google Doc, wherever it may be. And make sure you can review it. You want to have a convincing reason readily available to help you keep pressing on to accomplish these goals when the going gets tough. You're going to be going back and looking back at these on a regular basis. And if you haven't done this, there won't be anything there to connect with you, to remind you, to make you realize, oh my goodness, I really wanted to make this happen for this reason and that reason. And you need to be in a place where you can actually make a point of reminding yourself, because you're going to forget. You're going to get caught up in life. Life's going to happen. And you're going to go, why? You know what? Why am I even trying to do this? This is why we want to be able to review it, my friends. Okay, you want to be able to be in a place where you can have an argument with yourself and say, this is why I'm doing this. And I bought in emotionally. I started doing this for a very good reason. Is it, a physical goal of losing weight or, running or whatever the case may be. But you need to feel what's at stake. It's not about the mind. It's about the emotions, my friends. And this is how the law of attraction works. You start with the mind, of course. Everything starts with a thought. If you look around your room right now, there is nothing in your visual sight, your visual range, that didn't start with a thought. But you want to be in a place where you have that emotional buy-in. You want to be able to say, I'm going to feel like a real shit if I don't get this done, because you promised it to yourself, and I'm hoping that you shared it with some important people, right? And of course, use it. Remind yourself. Connect emotionally, because you remember what it feels like as you grow on a regular basis, what that ultimately means for yourself, your family, your clients. And of course, you're going to feel that increase in energy. You're going to feel, whatever the goal may be, you're going to feel an increase in your physical presence, your business productivity, whatever it might be. And it's going to spur you on. You're going to notice a difference, because when going gets tough, you need to have a way to remind yourself, okay? And achieving goals makes you feel good, right? They've done studies on this. People that are able to achieve goals get into a place where that achievement feels good and spurs them on to wanting to continue. And that helps things get done. That helps things become the next thing. Okay, now Michael Hyatt spoke about 3 stages of his timing, of his goal setting, of his development, of his habits, and so on and so forth. He's a speaker on stage, so he kind of relates it to being on stage: front stage, backstage, and off stage. So for him, front stage is time that he's working on projects that are in his desire, or his IPA zone, income producing activity, IPA zone. And these are the projects that drive our business, build our revenue, and trade on high passion, and give us our most satisfying proficiency, because we're seeing the results from a revenue base, from our building our business base. Backstage time is dedicated to more mundane tasks of managing the business, reviewing those things, seeing how well we did perform front stage activities, so that we can make sure that we're tweaking our activities and our processes. And then there's off stage time. Off stage time, my friends, is very important. That's reserved for rest and rejuvenation. So, like, I know lots of us get busy. I get super busy. I am, I can work from when I wake up till when I go to bed, and I'll forget to get out of my damn chair if I'm not careful. I'll forget to go for a walk. I'll forget to do my exercises. I'll forget to do my meditations. There's got to be some motivation. So we want to have these things on our schedule, on our calendar. And any of you that is serious about building a business, serious about making a difference in your life, you will have a calendar. Now, if you use a paper calendar like some friends of mine, that's fine. I use a digital calendar because I find it far more efficient. I can make edits. I can change dates. I can send emails. It's just far, far more powerful when I use a digital calendar to help me motivate, to help me find the reason and time it and schedule and get it in that place where I just know that it's going to be far more efficient. It's going to help me recharge my batteries. It's going to help me get in that place where I understand what I'm doing for myself, as well as for my business, my family, my friends. And I connect to it intellectually more specifically, more powerfully, because I'm a digital age guy now. I was born and raised when it was all about paper and pencil, and I was terrible at it. So I'm much happier using technology. And of course, I love my work. So disconnecting did not or does not come naturally. And I love the downtime. I really look forward to the fact that I've put in goals that are actually specific to spending time with my sweet Connie and connecting with my kids and working on my hobbies and just being in that place where I'm choosing to rest and recharge my batteries. Now, for the longest time, I kept hearing about how it takes 21 days to form a new habit, 30 days at the most, as far as that mantra goes. But if you can manage to marshal your willpower for 3 or 4 weeks, then you might have a habit going on there. But when it comes to new habits, there's actually more to the story, my friends. Certain habits are automatic, but it's, you have to spend some time at it. And, there's a lot of grit and determination required. So moving from one state to another with respect to giving up an old goal by replacing it with a new goal, that 21-day thing it's never worked for me. It's always taken me a lot longer to develop a habit. And you know what? A lot of people say 66 days it takes to form new habits, and that should become automatic after that. But you know what? Depending on the habit, depending on the individual, it could take 4 times longer than 66 days. And in that time, it's easy to lose your why. When a goal is running into overtime, and I'm not talking about playing hockey, I'm talking about living your life and achieving your goals. A habit goal can take a long time to develop. I really struggled with what it is that I am trying to do when it comes to my meditations. I did not know what it was that was holding me back from being a good meditator. I did not understand the difference about who I am and why I struggled so much to become a good meditator. Now, you know what? This whole thing here is difficult for different reasons for different people. And what I've shared with you is a very powerful way for it to become relevant for you and how you can connect with your key motivators for difficult habits. Okay. So when we are identifying our motivators, our key motivators, they're serving as lead measures for our achievements. And we can use those motivators in the achievement of our goal to keep us on the habit, to keep us building that habit, to keep us running 6 days a week, 7 days a week, right? But if you're emotionally connected to the achievement of those goals, then you're going to keep working at it more consistently. You're going to be more dedicated, and you're not going to give up as easily. So keep working on these smaller goals, these smaller achievements, to actually help you achieve the larger goals. So get through that messy middle and get into that place where progress is actually seeming possible. But remember your why to help you get past the impossible parts when you're thinking, oh man, this is taking so long, I want to give up. And remember, take these 4 actions: identify, record, prioritize, and connect with your key motivators. And of course, you're going to feel intimidated. You're going to feel unsure how to get that sorted, but do it anyways. Get in that place where you're committed to why you're doing what you're doing, okay? And of course, the whole idea is, first, you've got to write your goals down. And you've got to write down several motivators for each goal. Between 5 and 7 will do. Now, if you want, I can help by sharing a document with you. You can book some time with me and I'll guide you through that. Whatever you feel you need help with, if you can do it on your own, by all means, do it on your own. But keep in mind what's at stake, both positively when you achieve it and negatively if you don't. And make sure you rank your motivations and then list those rankings so that you know what's going on and you are in a place where you can be consistent with your activities so that you can actually build that goal. Now, I've got a person making comments here. It looks like an Isabel Fleming. I don't understand what language you're using there, Isabel, so I'm not going to I'm not going to show your comment because I can't explain it or respond to it. So, if you can do me a great big favor. I only know English. I apologize. I'm impressed that you know more than one language. You're listening to me and you're responding in another language. But by all means, if you're going to communicate with me, I apologize. You're going to need to use English. So anyways, in this next episode that's coming up tomorrow, because I've given you a big long break over Christmas and New Year's, and now we're into the new year. Now you're in that place where you want to make sure you build your habit structure. And you want to make sure that it happens in 2022, because I'm sure you've tried it already in 2021 and 2020. But let's make the year 2022 be the year that we take back our lives and our future. Let's refuse to be controlled by people that don't have our best interests in mind. And it's time to rule our lives rather than let someone else rule our lives for us. See you in episode 5. We're going to be talking about 12 steps to make sure you actually take action. All right, my beautiful friends, my magnificent manifestors, I'm so happy that I've been able to share this with you. This time has been precious. I love the fact that we're here together and that I can share this information with you like I have been and be in a place where not only have I done it for myself, but I'm helping you do it for you. Much love, my friends. Get out in the world and manifest. See you tomorrow.